Trev, I wanted to ask you first, what did you like so far through the first two periods of the game? Is any players particularly standing out for you?
Well, I think what's most encouraging at this stage is Heinen is not just the Jag, just another player. Uh, he's noticeable. He's not only in when he's scoring, but like the other parts, you can see the effort. I really like watching him play tonight, and that's the first time I've been able to say that in all the games. So I've really enjoyed that. I mean, it's just so much fun to watch Hughes, but everyone just says that. So, and then the whole Miller being injured and still playing and being productive, it's like what this team is. I mean, it just looks like it's going to be okay, but you never know. Yeah, so those are some of the guys that stood out. I like Hoaglander's play a lot so far tonight. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, we're going to get into the Pettersson conversation in a moment, but there's been a lot of positive already this evening, and I'm just like, this is so weird. This is usually a final score.
Yeah, 4-2 after the first period is usually the end of the game. Was there anything you didn't like out there so far tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Lankinen looks a little shaky, to be honest. Like to the point where I'm like, I wonder if he'll start next game. You know what I mean? Even though he's only allowed 2 goals in, he just looks a little shaky. But I'm not saying I didn't like it. It's just like, I wonder what's going to happen here with that. Just trying to think of other things I didn't really like. I mean, I think overall they played really solid. I'm just trying to think like who else. I usually have a couple things because I'm very realistic in my takes. I don't I'm just not a homer. I mean, I think as whenever you're a fan, you're a bit biased for sure, but I try to work really hard to have realistic takes. And I don't know. Tonight we've just really looked good top to bottom. I guess the goals that Chicago has scored were mistakes. It's like you can't let those happen. But I mean, when you scored 4 goals, and it just seems like people are like, oh well, no big deal. But I think it's a big deal. I guess the biggest piece to me tonight is that we just look like the better team because we are the better team, but you can't let them back in it. And when we took a couple of those bad penalties, like the Brandstrom penalty he just took, that wasn't the greatest penalty to take. Those are those moments where you got to be like, hey, can't let them back into this game here. And that was one of those opportunities where I was like, oh, so you get a little nervous. I don't know if I'm saying I'm upset or anything like that, but
right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day too, sometimes it is a little harder to find those downs when you have a 4-2 lead like that. But I mean, even the play with Baines on the half boards paps it out like he should over to Myers, and that unfortunate bounce right over his stick, and Taylor Hall is all alone in front. So yeah, a little mistake, but that's what happens in the NHL. You make one mistake and it ends up in the back of your net.
Right.
So I've seen a couple of your chats about Mr. Pettersson. How did you feel about PD? Let's get the Rev Trev Kempner Canucks update on Pettersson. How you feeling?
I'm very encouraged by the progress in the last 3 games. He's starting to look better. The problem is, it bothers me that I have to say that. It bothers me that you got the highest paid player on your team that needs to get eased in, and come on, let's hope to see you play good tonight, buddy. It's like you should have no problems. Now, but today, a lot of talk online regarding Pettersson's still dealing with this tendonitis, and there's pushback that it's not a mental thing, that it's still a physical thing. And I had one of my subscribers message me and says, I had this. It took me a year to recover. Now, here's the difference between you and I and Pettersson. He has the best doctors, the best care. I mean, it would take me 2 years to recover from that. It would take him a few months, but maybe that is the real deal answer, is that he's just physically not able. to produce at the level he wants to. So it is encouraging to see him in the last 3 games, especially. I mean, tonight I think he's looked really good.
Mhm.
I've actually think he's been impressive. Um, I think we should be winning 7-2. Like that's how good we look compared to them. So Pettersson's part of that process. And when you have Miller, who's not 100%, like hasn't taken, well, we'll talk about that in a second, but Pettersson needed to step up tonight, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am the guy. I am no longer protecting Pettersson. I do not think that we should be protecting a guy who's making all that amount of money, who's deemed as one of the stars on the team. But I also want to give him credit, and I feel like I've seen a lot of great things in the last 3 games.
Mhm.
He hasn't been perfect, but boy, he looks a lot better, and especially tonight. Because I don't think I don't know what you think about that line with Hoglander and Garland. I don't think that's sustainable.
No, I
We'll
mean,
see.
we got the news
We'll
today with
see.
Dakota Joshua, apparently 1 to 2 weeks out. So you got to think when Dakota Joshua comes back in the lineup, Pettersson probably at least loses Garland. So you're looking at maybe putting someone else on there. But there's also been people talking about maybe having Pettersson play with Garland and Dakota Joshua as a line.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Because you need the size and the skill with him because he's the smaller center, right? And I think not that Garland has to be big. He plays big. I know Hoglander plays big, and I'm not saying that. I think you're right. That's what I've been climbing for is like we need to get Pettersson with some guys like that, and that's the line you want to look at.
Right.
Because I think Hoglander can play on the bottom 6 and score. He's so talented. But I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, if you brought in DeBrusque to play with Pettersson, now he's already gone. That kind of worries me long term, to be honest. It's like he's all excited. Yeah, you got him in. It's like, well, you had the same guys already.
Yeah.
So if we're going to Hoglander and Garland or Joshua and Garland, like what did we go pay the big money for?
Right. So how did you feel about, we mentioned a little bit with Miller, how are you feeling? Because he hasn't taken any faceoffs yet tonight. What are your thoughts on Miller so far?
I mean, it's concerning. It just to me, it's like he's the ultimate warrior. He doesn't quit. He
Mhm.
doesn't stop. Like I'm not gonna be like something wrong. There's something wrong. Is it a wrist? I don't know what it is. And it's just sitting there, and it's like, how is he even playing? And then it's like you're okay with him not taking a face off. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. We make such a big deal over centermen, and it's like, so you're not gonna put a center on that line. And apparently it's working, so what do I know?
Well, the only thing is the Canucks face-off percentage tonight is terrible. They're only at 36% in the face-off dot tonight. So that might be one of the issues that they're facing right now is Miller not taking those face-offs. But I mean, you can even probably see Tocchet protecting him from those face-offs. So I don't think he's putting them out there as a line. I think when Miller's line is going out, he's doing it during a change. So
yeah, so Bluger's at 46.7%,
yeah,
Pettersson at 41.7, Amon's 40, and then you've got Brock Besser at 25%. It's
right.
like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's worry about Miller, but I'm not all concerned about it right now. He's still in the game, so obviously it's not that bad. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think JT Miller in his whole career in Vancouver has only missed 4 games, and one of those games was a maintenance day because he wanted to have a sit down. So,
wow.
What are your thoughts on the road trip? Because we talked a little bit the other night when I came onto your stream. We talked about how they needed this road trip to gel. Are you feeling like we're seeing a lot of that gel starting to show up here at the 4-game mark of this road trip?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about road trips that are awesome. You know, they don't have all the pressures of home. So I'm very, very thankful for this road trip seemed to come at the right time I just did a video last night called Building Chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that happen. I'm very encouraged by that.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Tocchet has really mixed up the lines, it's like he's trying to find those right fits. And I mean, tonight, like literally, like I'm not even being a homer on that, but like it could easily be 7-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, we look like we're clicking on all cylinders. So part of me is going, is it because we look good? Or is it that Chicago's bad? Because really, it's the top line of Chicago that looks spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hall line looks okay. And he scored, so I can't discredit everything. But like, it just kind of look like they just don't. I was thinking about it, like, why are they so mediocre?
Mm.
They've been bad for a while. Where's the guys they've developed? It's like, no, we got Dickinson. Like, okay. Like, I don't know. I know you need role players, but like, where are the prospects? I mean, I guess Bedard's your prospect, but it's like, you don't have any other ones out there?
I think you probably need more than one player.
Yeah, and then Mrazek's fine, but he's not great either. And it's like, so when are they going to be good? So for me, the gelling, like maybe a game like this really helps them to gain the confidence to say, hey, we can do this and that. Like that pass to Heinen for that tip-in goal was really nice. And then the commentator was saying, hey, that's something they've been practicing. It's like that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I'm really encouraged by the road trip so far. Now it's going to get tough the next number of games, so we're going to find out really like where are we at here with this team. But I'm encouraged. I don't know how do you feel about it?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, no, all the signs are pointing in the right direction. A lot of those errors they were making to start the year have kind of been looked at, and that double coverage although you did see that double coverage a little bit tonight when it was Soucy and Myers out there and both in the corner. But other than that, I mean, the defensive coverage has really been cleaned up, and that was their biggest issue. So they're not really giving away as many high scoring danger chances as they have. So I think they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And then the other thing too that I noticed, and I think I just got caught on a line change. They had Desharnais and Myers out. They're both right-handed shot defensemen at the same time. And I'm like, did he put them both out there? But I'm like, I think it just because the way it happened, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Because he's really like right-handed guys shoot on the right, left-handed guys shoot.
Yeah.
And left-handed shot defensemen have really dominated the league. And it doesn't matter if you're left or right, you can play it. But now it seems there's a big shift.
Those right-handed guys.
So I mean, it makes sense. It's logical.
Yes. So
I was like, it's the first time I've seen two right-handed guys out there at the same time. Like, this is weird.
It's a strange one. So just before I let you go, Rev Trev, the last question I wanted to ask you was, when you started streaming, what started you with this streaming journey, doing all this Canucks content?
Yeah, so I've actually been making sports content for a very long time. And I had my one main channel. I tried to do Canucks content, NFL content, NBA content, anything I got inspired on, I did a video on. And you start small and you're filming stuff off your phone, or you have a little camera. You don't even have a proper microphone. You're trying to do it and try to be entertaining. And I'm watching other people and I'm like, I could do that. I mean, it's like, you don't even have to be right. You just have to be like, you know what I mean? You know what it's like streaming video games when you did your Fortnite stuff. And It's like, there's people that are really good at the game. Then there's people that are really entertaining. And then there's people that really know what they're talking about. And like, there's all kinds of venues to get in, right? So I started that way, and I did that for a number of years, and I just couldn't really grow it. And then during COVID, I was reading more articles about stuff, and I realized got to be specific. So I decided to launch out and just make a Kempner Canucks channel, and then make my football just a football. So I have two YouTube channels that I do. Like it's not full time, but it's full time hours with hardly any return.
Yeah.
And so when I started my Canucks channel, it just started to grow. And and as you can see, I'm super passionate. I love talking about it. And what I learned is I love conversations with people. I love connecting our fan base. So that's kind of how it started. And then once I got the streaming stuff online, the videos they are a lot of work, a lot of editing, and I would put a ton into it. So funny story is I put the same amount of effort into my Canucks channel as I do my football channel, but my Canucks channel has grown leaps and bounds. It's almost triple what my football channel is.
Very cool.
And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving this whole thing, and I'm just really enjoying the community. I mean, I've been a Canucks fan since I was a kid, so you know it's been decades of ups and a lot of downs. There's been some really bad teams, and there have been some really good teams, and we should have won at least 2 cups already. So yeah, I like, and I don't mind debates either. Like when it comes to sports debates, you better bring some facts,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to get destroyed. Because all these people that just want to share their feelings and all that kind of stuff. And so I've been in a few conversations, shall we say, with people, and sometimes they get their nose out of joint. They're like, "Wow, Trev, you're like really bringing the stuff," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, you should expect passionate from me, but you should expect honest." And then someone made a comment and then said, "Well, Kempner Canucks coming with the facts." I'm like, "Well, would you like me just to share my feelings?" Like that sounds like an awful show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got psychiatrists for that if you want to share your feelings, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, I put a ton of time into this. I make all my own thumbnails. I make all my own graphics, all my intros, outros, everything. I mean, you do a lot of the same, and so.
Oh, you're a little bit ahead of me, sir. I'm just trying to catch up.
Yeah, so streaming has been a lot of fun. And I love having the questions come in and answer them right there. And yeah, so I don't know if there's anything other specific you want to talk about that, but boy, it's been an awesome ride, and now I've just gotten monetized.
That's awesome.
So that's been fun. That's been more encouraging. My wife's more encouraged about it than I am.
Yeah.
Because she's like, "Can you just make some money? You put all this money into all this." So, but I put money into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to do well. So like it ticks me off I cannot stream any longer to Twitter.
Yeah.
Because they make you pay for their thing. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Thanks, Elmo.
Right?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Rev Trev, I appreciate you coming on the show today. We got the Canucks game back up and running. Don't want you to miss anything. I've got your socials running below you for this whole interview. So everyone who hasn't yet, go check out Rev Trev, Kempner Canucks. Just into the third period here. Any last words before we get back into the game action, sir?
I think that we're going to win this game. And if we don't, I think Canucks fans need to be upset because we are the better team. They don't have the roster like we do, but boy, it's been such an encouraging night. And thanks so much having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the end of this third period.
Yeah, awesome.
Now I'm going to stream my post-game show later tonight, and so looking forward to that and connecting with more Canucks fans. But
going at 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah, 9:30, everyone. So I've got all your socials there. I've got a link in the description for the video. Thanks for coming on. We'll have you again sometime soon. All right, Rev?
Thanks. Have a great night.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Canucks go.
Go Canucks go.
Nothing is perfect.